Two new Canon camera models have been registered with international certification bodies, sparking discussions and speculation. The two cameras in question? Well, they were registered on May the 23rd, 2025. We have DS-126916 and ID-0184. Is one of them the R6 III, the R7 II, or perhaps the R6 III and a video-centric version of the same camera to counter the Sony FX3, the FX2, or the FX30? Well, I'll break it down in this video. And if you're serious about staying ahead of the latest camera gear, hit that subscribe button. I promise to make it more fun than eating a live cat. Thanks to Weibo account E8M8888 for letting us know about these registrations. The first registration is DS-126916, and this follows Canon's typical naming convention for EOS R-series cameras, the DS prefix standing for digital stills cameras. The second model, ID-0184, well, this appears to be a video-centric or cinema camera, because cinema cameras or video-centric cameras always get that ID prefix that we saw with the R5C and, of course, various cinema cameras. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to the registration, it doesn't give us a whole lot of hints here. Look, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the R6 III and the R7 II are on the docket for 2025. And Canon's also working on building out a new line called the EOS RV line. And that RV line, well, it seems to suggest that Canon's doing the same thing that Sony did with the FX line with the RV line. So the first camera that we had was the Canon EOS R50V. And that's basically a video-centric version of the R50. And the Sony FX line, well, it's been very, very popular. Sony introduced this line about going back 4 years now with the FX3, essentially a video-centric version of the A7S III, essentially the same camera, although slightly bigger, better heat management, and of course that XLR handle. And then about a year later, we got an APS-C version of the FX3 in the FX30. And now, just recently, Sony announced the FX2. So what is the FX2 a video-centric version of? Well, the much older, well, I shouldn't say much older, but we're going on, what, 3-4 years now? I've lost track of the time, but I know it's going back there. And that's the Sony A7 IV. But the FX2 is interesting here because, well, it's getting that older sensor, that 33 megapixel sensor, the same innards essentially as the A7 IV. Sony's also throwing in that AI processing chip. So it's got a lot of old gear, but also some new gear. And the one thing really nice for videographers, you get to have shutter angle. Shutter angle. It sounds great. So this segment that Sony started with the FX3 about some 4 years ago has done very, very well. And up until 2025, Panasonic, Canon, Nikon, none of them were able to address this. So Canon's first attempt was at the very entry-level part of the market, to take the R50, a camera that was announced a couple of years ago, and create a video-centric version of it. And you might think, well, yeah, it's just got the same stuff. It's a couple of years old. Well, that's all Sony's been doing for the past 5 years. The A7S III was announced back in August of 2020, started shipping shortly thereafter. The FX3, the same capabilities. The FX30, the same capabilities. Now, as we move down in price and we move down through the different models, we did notice that, well, some capabilities wouldn't transfer down. But to the A6700, the A7C2, the A7CR, actually no, the A7CR is more or less taking from the Sony A7R5. But the ZV-1, the ZV-E10, all these cameras are borrowing from that one camera, and the components are being reused throughout the entire line. Sony's very good at doing this, with giving us so many different options that there's bound to be something that's going to suit our needs. Whereas Canon, all we have right now is that EOS R50V, the first EOS RV camera. And according to the rumor market, according to Canon Rumors, Craig Blair, what we're supposed to be seeing is either a video-centric version of the R7 Mark II or the R6 Mark II, or both. If Canon could do that, it would give a big boost to their EOS RV line. But they have an opportunity here, because Sony's been recycling a lot of the gear. And if you look at the rolling shutter with the FX2, you can see some of the pain points here. Look at Nikon with their Z6 Mark III. It's got a partially stacked sensor. And the Panasonic S1 II, partially stacked sensor. So better readout. You can see the opportunity here as Canon gets ready to release the R6 Mark III. Rumors are it's going to have a fully stacked sensor, not partially stacked. Canon has a chance to take back the crown within this segment. And if they announce the R6 III along with the EOS R6V, so Canon has a real chance here to claw back some of the market share that Sony's taken in this segment and try to get back to being the #1 mirrorless camera maker out there. And then, of course, there's the APS-C camera, the R7 II. Now, this is the flagship of Canon's APS-C lineup. This camera is supposed to get the baby R1 treatment, kind of a callback to how Canon treated the 7D back in the day when we had the EF mount. Well, we still have it, they just don't make anything for it. So if Canon takes the R7 and creates a video-centric version of that too, so EOS R7B, well, it's going to be priced a little bit lower. It may not offer all of the same capabilities, but it has a chance to offer a faster sensor, faster readout speed, better dynamic range than what Sony's got, and force Sony into refreshing properly the A7S III, the A7 IV, the FX3, the FX30, and, well, why not the FX2 at the same time? Sony has a very consumer-centric version of looking at their cameras. They don't see, at least at this end, treating them as professionals. It's just, here's a consumer device. It's great. Look at it, all the wonderful features. It's a really nice product. You want something new? You want newer features? Well, then buy the next model. And you have to wait. You don't. Sony's not one for releasing firmware updates with a lot of new capabilities. And they are very much interested in taking that technology, the chips, that they put into cameras like the A7S III and to generate better operational efficiencies, better return on investment by taking the same chips and putting them in the rest of their cameras. Maybe taking out 4K 120, maybe giving it a crop. For example, the FX2, you've got some great capabilities, but you're dealing with a rather significant crop in some of them. And of course, you've got that rolling shutter. And it's nice to have the mechanical, and I love that tilting EVF as well. That's a nice. Not only did they add an EVF to the FX2, but it tilts up. That's kind of nice. I like that. It's funny, in a way, the FX2 seems to me like a bit of a compromise. It's got chips from the past and then chips from the not-so-distant past merged together, giving capabilities in the FX2 that the FX3 doesn't have, but capabilities that the FX3 has that the FX2 doesn't have. It does take a bit of time to study that. And it was announced today. Apparently, we can't pre-order right now. But by the time you're watching this tomorrow, which is your today, you can go ahead and pre-order it. I think the pre-orders start at 9 o'clock. So I've got a link down below if you're interested in pre-ordering the FX2. But those camera registrations from Canon, at this point, I have no idea what they are. It used to be that when we had camera registrations, at least before COVID, and even for the first couple of years, oh, I said the C word, didn't I? Let's hope this channel doesn't. I might just beep that word out. I'm serious. This is stuff I have to deal with. So going back to this camera registration, usually once you had a registration, within 1 to 3 months, you'd usually see a camera announcement. This time around, well, we're expecting so much to be coming out that it's really hard to say. R6 III, R7 II, this year for sure, second half. I mean, obviously it's going to be the second half, right? And of course, video-centric versions. Canon is working on building out the EOS RV line. They see what Sony's done and they're interested. I just hope that Canon's really sharpen their pencils and they're not just trying to catch up. They're trying to blow past Sony, because when we have competition, things are exciting. I mean, just look at the Nikon Z6 Mark III. That's a pretty impressive camera. It's bringing capabilities like 4K 120 to that price segment that we haven't seen before. I really do like the Nikon Z6 Mark III, and the Canon EOS R6 Mark III looks to be really good. The specs, the leaked specs that we're getting. So Nikon, Canon refreshing that segment. It puts pressure on Sony with the A7 IV. It's really time to give us the A7 V. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. If you're interested in purchasing any camera gear in the United States from Adorama, B&H, or Amazon.com, then please consider using my affiliate links down below, because quite honest, this channel is viewer supported. I don't use sponsorships. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in adding, if you watch YouTube with ads, I don't believe in putting any more ads into your experience. So if you're looking at buying gear, it doesn't cost you anything extra. I get a small commission back, and you know, what a great way, what a better way to say thank you for this video than if you need to buy something, you get a great deal, and I get a small commission back, and best of both worlds. Anyhow, thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a great day, a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.